G'day, it's Drunkcrafter here. Haven't made a video in a while. The Beastcraft server reopened, so we've been busy for the last couple of weeks building. What I'm going to show today is my automated bookshop that I've designed and built, which is over here. First of all, I designed it on top of the roof of my house, just to see if I could make it work. It's something that I'd been wanting to do for a while since the hoppers and droppers were added to the game. Designed a system that allows me to choose what book I want. Just goes through and, using a couple of sets of pistons, pushes one block into place. So only this one. So that'll be the only one that'll have power going through to the dropper. And I've got a guest here pushing my buttons. Fuck off. So it works by selecting that, putting what you're paying with into the chest. I think this one's actually set up for slime bowls, so my diamonds won't work. They get transported down to the other end. Fill up all of the hoppers along here, which then send a signal. Gets inverted, changes when they're all the same, changes at the top, inverts the signal, comes back down, then goes through and comes through that block to tell it to pop one out. This was the original version that I came up with. Then I decided that there were some changes that I wanted to make. We're inside the finished version here, and you can see it's set up for all 22 different enchanted book types. I theoretically could make it big enough to do each level of each book, but that would be huge. So you can select the book with a button, goes through, changes what it's looking for. It works with different prices, so I've got some 1 diamond books here, then I've got a bunch of 3 diamond books, and then 5 diamonds. It uses a comparator to sense when there's items in the dropper, and then when there's nothing in it, it'll push down a piston which pushes a block covering over the button. So if there's nothing in stock of a certain item, you can't press the button. So basically anyone using the shop can't get ripped off if there's nothing in there that they want. At the moment I push the button for a 1 diamond book. It does take a little bit of time. There's a lot of redstone, a lot of repeaters, and quite a lot of hoppers as well that are involved. I use the pressure plate there to go, well, there's an inverted signal that's next to the hopper, which doesn't allow the diamonds to drop through until you've stepped on the pressure plate, which changes the inverted signal. It'll take, I think it's 15 to 20 seconds for it to operate, because it's got to send the diamond all the way to the other end, work out what it's doing, then send the signal back, then pop out the book, and that's got to travel down, in this case, from the other end. There we go, we've got our 1 diamond Bane of Arthropods 4 book. And if we go back down the other end, I'm pretty sure there was only 1 of those books in the dropper, so now it's pushed that down, can't push the button again. It uses the same mechanism for a 3 diamond book, or a 5 diamond book. And the other thing that I've set it up to do, I'll let that go, is I've worked out a way that you can select, say, a 5 diamond book, and then before you put the diamonds in and send them down, if you decide that you want a different book, you can go and press that button and it'll fully reset what it's looking for. So it won't just change what the output's going to be. it can also reset how many diamonds it's looking for. So again, you can't get ripped off in that way. And there we go, blast protection book. We could do a 5 diamond as well, but there's not a lot of point. So let's have a look at how it works. This is a vanilla server for the most part. There's just a couple of things. Because I'm a lifetime member, I can use the compass, which does come in handy building something like this. Otherwise I would have had to do a lot of climbing and probably had to use a fair few ladders. You can see that this is a lot taller than the one that was on top of the house. For the main part, that's because I'm letting it sense if there's anything in the droppers. But for the most part, this is all relatively simple. This is all signals coming out. This one, the buttons on the back of this block, that sends a signal which is delayed quite a bit. Goes up to move the bottom piston to get that into place for the one that you've selected, and then it's got a secondary signal coming down the bottom that then goes up to the top. And because I've got 22 different items, I've had to be a little bit tricky with the wiring along here, because we want this one to operate the top pistons and for it to push them all at the same time, because we don't want it to be able to select anything other than the one that it wants. So you can't have 2 different items selected at the same time. And because the redstone pulse will only travel 15 blocks, I've had to make it up into 3 different segments and then join them together and make sure that each segment, when it's operating any other segment, all of them have the same timing. Not difficult, just slightly time consuming, just by working out how many ticks each repeater's got to be on. We also have signals coming from, actually here, these are all 5 diamond signal. So whichever 5 diamond button you press, it all feeds into the same one. This one's 3. And then down here there's only 2 1 diamond books. They go down there. These are the reset circuits, or for setting the number of diamonds that it's going to be looking for. When we get over there, you'll see that I've set it up so that in its initial state it's only looking for 1 diamond. So your diamonds come down, get pushed up through the droppers, come down through more hoppers and get loaded into a cart here. Comparator senses that there's something in the cart. I've put a bit of delay with some repeaters so that if you're putting, say, 5 diamonds in, they've got time for them all to get in before the signal comes back into the piston here. Releases the cart. The cart travels over the hoppers, and as it goes over each hopper it will release 1 diamond. Again, what I've done is I've set it up so that, well, to start with, there's a signal coming into the back of the hoppers that doesn't let the diamonds through. So 1 diamond will drop into this hopper, but because there's a signal going into the one below it, the diamond that's in this hopper won't drop into that hopper. Once there's a diamond in there, it'll also let this know and start to power system over here, and it'll loop back up and lock the top one so that you can't have another diamond coming back in when the cart comes back across. Now because it's set to 1 diamond at the moment. Actually, no, it's probably, is it set to 1? Yeah, it's set to 1. I've got 1 here, and then if you wanted to make it 3 diamonds, it pushes this block across, so that then the power will come through to these 2, but it won't go through to the 4th and 5th unless you choose 5 diamonds, in which case that comes across. These come into play. So if I'd put 5 diamonds in, but it was only set to 1 diamond, the cart would come across, it would go across the hopper down there, put 1 into this one, which doesn't have anything at the moment. It would then continue across these other ones, and not put anything in them. So then if we selected 3 or 5, more of these would come into play. What I could do is design it to have a piston with a block like that in between each one, so that I could easily reprogram it from 1 to 5 diamonds, because at the moment I can't do 2 or 4, so I'd have to change it if I wanted to. Over here again we've got the blocks getting pushed across to select how much of the circuit needs to be in operation. So at the moment, because the block's not in the way, it's only going to be looking for this one being powered to turn this off, and then send a signal down. Once that comes across, it then makes these 2 affected as well. So for the number of diamonds that are selected, you've got to have all of them having all of the hoppers having a diamond before it will change the state of this, which then basically at exactly the same time changes this to off, which then allows the diamonds to go back down in through the system. So that changes, then it's pretty simple, the signal just goes back across and goes into whichever hopper from the top, which I had to do to fit the comparator underneath it. And now just demonstrating when it's set to 3 diamonds, it's now got these 3 activated, that block's been moved across, this one's still in its original position, and over this side you can also see that block's been moved across and this one's out of the way. I'll now go and set it to 5 diamonds. It's now set to 5 diamonds, so that block's been pushed across, as has that one. So now it's looking for 5 diamonds along here. It'll use all of the torches on the other side under here to change the state up there, which will send us signals. And also what I hadn't shown before is that the 1 and 3 diamond reset signals come together here, get joined into the 1 signal that comes along, and then this one operates this block, and what it does is partly it powers these pistons along here, and the other thing it does is comes along the underside down here and then goes up. Ooh, bloody hole, to push these ones across. Sorry, pushes it back because it's the reset. So as I've shown, It works for 1, 3 and 5 diamonds, works really nicely. The one problem that I've found is I've got 4 pistons that appear to be glitched. There's one at this end, and then a pair here, and another one down here. Where even though there's no power going to anything, they're stuck down. I've tried breaking the piston and putting it back, which doesn't make any difference. It'll be like that, but then as soon as you run any button, it goes back to being stuffed. Sorry, the server's a little bit laggy at the moment. So if I push a button, it's back to being like that again. I've also noticed that putting a block near it will reset it, but then again it'll be stuffed next time that something gets powered. So if anyone's got any ideas on how to fix that, let me know, because I can't work it out any more than I just can't use those 4. Ta.